Hi, y'all. This is Tim Hansel. I'm one of the two instructors for Spirituality and Ethics of Healthcare. RS 379 is the number for that one. And just making this little video just to introduce you to the course, and along with that, to talk a little bit about navigating the Blackboard site. So what you're seeing right now is what you would see after you logged on to Blackboard and clicked on this course, RS379. And right now you'll see on the left we have a few things that are currently sort of available to you. So there's a link to the syllabus. There's a link to Module 1, which is my module. So we have divided the course sort of into two halves, and I am taking the first half, and then Dr. Kirby will be taking the second half. So right now what's visible to you is sort of my half of the class, and then there's a link to the blog and some other stuff as well. But for now, what's sort of important would be just the syllabus, Module 1, and the blog. That's where you're going to be doing a lot of work, and you'll be finding the content that you need to find. But I just want to, let's just sort of start with the syllabus. So I sent out an email to everybody, and I wanted to get everybody to read this syllabus before moving on. The syllabus gives you a bunch of information. I have to sort of apologize that we use this sort of syllabus template that just has a lot of stuff in it, and it can get a little bit overwhelming. But let me just sort of scroll down to the bottom here just to give you kind of a sense of what the course is sort of all about, and how everything's going to progress. So at the bottom of the syllabus is our schedule. And as I mentioned, sort of the first 4 weeks of the class is Module 1. This is sort of my section. And in my section, what we're going to be discussing with regards to spirituality and ethics of healthcare is mostly the ethical stuff. So I am a philosopher by trade and training, and I teach in the philosophy department, and I teach ethics courses. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of introducing you to sort of ethical reasoning and ethical thought, and talking about sort of healthcare with that sort of lens. So from the lens of ethics and moral reasoning, we'll be talking about different issues and ways in which we sort of argue about the ethics of, for instance, decisional capacity, or euthanasia, or abortion, or justice in healthcare, and the allocation of scarce resources. So my section is sort of about that, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in this little video. But I wanted to also, kind of tell you about sort of the other section, which is sort of Jill's section, and or Dr. Kirby, and Dr. Jill Kirby is going to sort of take the reins and talk about the religious element here, the spirituality element. And her weeks 5 through 8 kind of focus on different sort of religious and spiritual traditions, and how those sort of interact with these ethical issues in healthcare. And so if you look starting on week 5, you'll see that she's going to talk a little bit about the history of spiritual and religious care and medical care, and talk about Christianity, and the Christian tradition with healthcare, and the ethics of healthcare. And then week 6, she talks about Judaism and Islam. Week 7, she talks about Buddhism and indigenous religion. And then she ends with the practical integration of spiritual and religious care in healthcare context. So that's her sort of section, and that's what she'll be doing. And when you get closer to that, you'll get more of a sense of sort of what the assignments that she's going to require of you, and the writing work that's going to be done there. But for now, let's just talk about me and what you're gonna need to be doing for me. So I'm just gonna scroll back up here to the first 4 weeks and talk a little bit about our reading schedule and your sort of major assignments. So, in terms of sort of reading, most of what we're going to be doing is going to come out of this textbook, The Ethical Issues in Modern Medicine, the 8th edition of that. So make sure you get the right edition. And but there'll be a few other readings from time to time. So, for instance, in this first week, you will have a short introduction to ethics and reasoning written by Schaefer Landau, and that will be available on Blackboard here in a bit. And sort of as we move on through these readings, most of the topics that we discuss will come through these sort of ethical issues. So if you look at week 2, we'll be discussing decisional capacity and euthanasia. So we've got some ethical issues in modern medicine readings regarding decisional capacities and euthanasia. We've got some case studies on both of those topics. Week 3, we'll be talking about just sort of what death means, along with abortion, which is kind of predicated on different conceptions of death and personhood. So those kind of go together. And then in the final week that you're with me, we'll be talking about justice, and related to that is the allocation of scarce resources. So you've got these different topics, and you're going to have a lot of reading on these topics to sort of think about. And I want to talk about sort of our main sort of assignments. So in terms of graded work, there's 2 things that you're going to be doing, and they're both writing. It's just sort of different types of writing. So the first type of writing is what we call an expositional essay, and I'll talk more about that when I actually assign it at the end of this week. And essentially, this is sort of a short writing assignment that involves reading someone else's sort of piece of argumentative work and kind of unpacking what's going on and explaining what you sort of think of it. So it's not a research paper. It's something sort of specific, or a little bit more specific to sort of philosophical work, and that's one of the things that you're going to need to do. And this is a fairly short writing assignment. It's about 4 to 5 pages of double-spaced work. And that's sort of one of the things that you're going to be sort of graded on, and that's going to be worth 20%, or no wait, 30% of the sort of the work from my section, and then another sort of major sort of graded assignment will be sort of an essay exam, which again will be sort of assigned by the end of this week, but will be sort of due at the end of my section. So both of these things will be due at the end of my section, so at the end of week 4. And so it's an essay exam. It involves a lot of writing. It's essentially a directed essays where I ask you some pretty sort of pointed questions, and don't give you a whole lot of wiggle room in terms of what you write about. And so you'll be working on some essay questions throughout the 4 weeks here, and that is also going to amount to another 4 to 5 pages of written work. But that essay exam will be due at the end of week 4. So those are your main assignments. That essay exam is going to be worth 50% of the work that you'll be doing for me, and so take that along with the expositional essay. That's sort of 80% of the total work for me. And then on top of that, we have this sort of 20% sort of left over, which is going to be sort of taken up by your sort of blog posts and replies. So every week, as a way to sort of generate discussion and to figure out kind of what's going on with the reading and where you kind of fit in with that reading, you'll be doing blog posts. And so each week for each reading, there'll be a blog, and you'll be creating a blog post for each week where you just do a reflection on that week's reading. And so you do at least one sort of blog post, and then on top of that, you also do some replies. So I want you to do at least 2 replies to other students' blog posts, and that I think will do well in generating some good discussion and good content for the course. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about that for now. Of course, if as you read through this syllabus, if you have some questions, feel free to email me. My email is here in the syllabus here, so right there, thansel@edgewood.edu. That is the best way to communicate with me. But I just wanted to sort of move on and just sort of show you where this other stuff is. So for each week, you can go to the module here, and you can kind of see what you need to do for each week, what the readings are going to be, and what your sort of assignments are going to be. So here's a schedule for this week, week 1. And, this is what you need to be doing in terms of reading. You got to read from Ethical Issues in Modern Medicine, the introduction, which is actually pretty long because there's a lot of stuff in there. So read pages 1 to 41. I also have another reading for you to do, which I'll post here, which is Russ Shafer-Landau, the introduction to Russ Shafer-Landau's book, The Fundamentals of Ethics. And there's also a little video companion, another video that I've made that will be sort of a companion to the Russ Shafer-Landau stuff about argumentation. And so you should watch that. Then there's also the blog posts. So in the email, I talked to you about the introductory blog entry. So make sure you do your introductory blog. And then your first reflection blog for this week. So you're going to be reading these 2 introductory chapters, and this is your first opportunity to reflect on the material that you've read and to communicate with your fellow students about that. So that's what that looks like, and so that's your schedule there. And I'll go back here to the just to the blog here. Just wanted to show you that little piece. So this is where all the blogs are going to be. So here's the introductory blog. As you can see, sort of 3 people have already done their introductions as of my taping this. And then here's your week 1 blog, and which nobody has done yet. But here's where you do that. And here's some instructions, give you a little bit more to sort of think about as you sort of write these things. But when you do these things, it's pretty straightforward. You just hit create blog entry, and a little box for writing will appear, and you can sort of title your entry and blah blah blah. So type things out, and then just sort of hit post entry here at the bottom when you're done. So so that's pretty much all you need at the moment, I think. And we will, like I said, if you have any sort of questions about sort of what's going on, feel free to sort of reach out to me. Jill and I are kind of in the middle of sort of creating this class as we go, so we'll be sort of adding things to the site as we think of things to add. So we'll do what we can to sort of keep you in the loop, and make sure that things don't get to sort of too overwhelming. So anyway, that's all I have for right now. I'll be in contact with you sort of regularly here with these little videos or emails or whatever. But that's all I got for now. So I will talk to you y'all later. Bye bye.